Hi everybody, today I'm working on a 2006 MINI Cooper S. This car needs a new crankshaft pulley. The way I know it needs a new pulley is because it threw a P1688 OBD code. The owner says it goes into limp mode when driven hard when the supercharger is under boost, and also it's making a burning smell. These cars have a harmonic balancer or harmonic dampener. This car has a harmonic balancer instead of a solid crankshaft pulley with a rubber center. And this is designed to absorb the percussive forces from combustion within the engine to protect the engine itself and the accessories that are driven by the crankshaft pulley. Because of this reason, I strongly recommend not buying a solid crankshaft pulley. Instead, I recommend buying a liquid-filled one or a stock pulley. There's an ATI racing pulley that you can get, or this one, SFI, which stands for SFI Foundation Inc., which sounds to me like a redundant acronym. But anyway, this is a reasonably priced alternative. Liquid filled, it should last forever. And at the same time, I'm going to be replacing the front main seal, the crankshaft bolt, and the belt. And to do this work, we need to get the car up in the air and remove the right side front wheel. And the tools are pretty straightforward except for a couple of special ones. So we need a harmonic balancer puller. These can be bought pretty much anywhere. We need a longer bolt to help to push the new crankshaft pulley back onto the crankshaft. And this is an M12 times 1.5 thread pitch, and the total length of the bolt, not including the head, looks like this is a 100mm bolt compared to the stock crank pulley bolt, which is 75. We're going to need a few M6 bolts of the correct length, and you want to get hardened bolts, the black ones. The 2002 to 2004 cars, roughly speaking, have an older style pulley which require longer bolts, and then from 05, 06 model years and later they move to a different style pulley which uses shorter bolts. You want to make sure you get the black ones, the grade 10 bolts that will not stretch or break under extreme tension. The bolt for the pulley puller is too small to fit through the hole of the crankshaft pulley in order to press down on the crankshaft itself. So you're going to need a couple of bolts. I cut off a couple of M10 cylinder head bolts, or you can buy these as well. So you put that into the hole and push. You're going to actually use the puller tool to push onto that bolt instead of the pulley itself, which actually, of course, won't let it come off. And then once it starts backing out, I also have another bolt. It's about 12 centimeters long, and I'm going to switch out the bolts with the magnetic tool and continue pulling the pulley off because it's on about, about 30 or 40 millimeters. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. You're also going to need a belt removal tool. So this is the tensioner, detensioner tool, and there's two different kinds. For the supercharged car, you're going to need this one with the pins up front here, and for the non-supercharged cars, you need this one here. I'll put links in the descriptions where you can get all these tools. So the first thing we'll do is remove the front wheel. Next, we peel back the wheel liner. So we're going to unscrew these body clips. There's a total of, looks like there's a total of 5 plastic threads. And then underneath the bumper, there's one metal screw that comes out. We don't need to remove the whole wheel liner. We just need to kind of peel it back and get it out of the way. And then I'll tie it up out of the way with a bungee cord. Alright, next we need to take the tension off the belt. So we're going to put the pin into the hole on the tensioner spring here. It might be easier to do this as a two-person job. And then I'm going to pull up on it and put the pin in the hole. Alright, this allows us to take the belt off. And it's hard to see, but this center part is attached to the car, and the outer part I'm able to turn it with my hands almost all the way around. Next we use a 15mm socket to get the bolt off. On a manual car, you can step on the brake in 6th gear to do this at the same time as your helper unscrews the bolt. On an automatic car, you may need to use the impact tool to get this bolt off. After taking the bolt out, I'm going to put my short helper pin into the hole. Then I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize compound on my puller tool just to protect the threads. And then I'm going to screw on the tool here together with some washers. And it looks like actually there's only about 5 or 6mm thread depth here. So make sure whatever bolt you use has thread going all the way to the end. And then while holding everything centered, I'm going to run these bolts all the way down until they bottom out. And make sure you use bolts that are equal length. Now I'm going to tighten the tool by hand until it just bottoms out, and then I'm going to gradually back it off. Again, you can use hand power or impact tools if you're on an automatic. Once it started moving, you can use a magnet tool to pull out the shorter bolt and then put in the longer bolt. Alright, I've pulled the pulley enough with the shorter bolt that I've pulled it out and it's actually bottomed out. So I've switched over to my longer bolt and I'm going to continue pulling it off. And I'm using an impact gun here. If you're on a manual transmission car, you can do this by hand as well, but this is an automatic, so it's just going to spin. Okay, we got the pulley off, and you can see only half of it came off. The pulley part is completely separated, so this is why it fails. The inside rubber part has completely failed, and they were spinning freely from each other. And that's what you smell. Alright, next we're going to replace this seal. To avoid damaging the crankshaft, I'm going to take a screw here and I'm going to screw it into the seal through the rubber just until it bottoms out, and there you go, it comes right out. You can use anything, but I'm going to use a 32mm socket which slides over the crankshaft snout, and this is what I'm going to use to press it on. But first we're going to put a little bit of oil on the inside and outside of the seal. I'm just going to take a little bit of motor oil and just wipe it on both the inside and the outside. Then we're going to slide the seal back over, and then I'll use my 30mm socket and a hammer just to tap it the rest of the way on. And I'm inspecting as I do this. I want to make sure it's flush and equal height all the way around. Alright, that feels pretty good. Next we're going to put the new pulley in place. And there's no alignment, there's no keyway or anything. It's just going to be pressed on. And like I said, we have a little bit longer bolt here. And the reason we have to use a longer bolt is it's just too much length here, and the stock crank pulley bolt doesn't catch the threads. So we're going to put this guy in and then gently drive it on. And then I'm going to stop and back this bolt out and replace with the stock crank pulley bolt. The torque setting for this bolt is right here. Alright, that's the hard part. Now we just change the belt and put everything back together. This car is an automatic transmission, so the engine is a little bit over to the right more than the manual cars. So it's a little bit tighter fit. So you're going to want to run the belt over all of the pulleys and save the idler pulley for last. And if you do it right, you should be able to slip it on with just a little bit of pressure over the idler pulley. Then we can take the tension back off, and that's it. So the rest of the job is assemble in reverse order. Pretty much that's all there is to it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. I've put a link in the description where you can buy all the stuff. Oh yeah, I also made a link to a tip jar for anyone who feels so inclined. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.